Thank you very much, Cornel and Remco, for having this opportunity. So eShape, as on the slide you can see, is actually a project that has 27 pilot services organized in 7 different, let's say, showcase areas. And I'm actually leading the climate showcase area, but I have been also very much involved in doing this harvester seasons forestry planning service. And that's what you will hear about now. And sorry, I have to, of course, go to the... Now I can change the slides. So the service is really about forestry conditions, and probably the best term is to say trafficability in forests, because forestry machines, when it's a business, at least which is the case in Finland and Sweden, and well, most forests that are being really used in an economic way, they have been worked since decades now with forestry machines, which are actually pretty heavy, something like 20 tons. And what the bad, let's say, situation is that these big machines do compress the soil in the forests, which of course is not good in many ways, but especially also for the fact that the forests don't grow if the soil is too compacted. So to do these forestry activities, you should find conditions where this does not happen, or at least it doesn't go very deep. And our service is trying, with the help of something which is very much an Earth observation-based product, which is trafficability in a static sense. So which areas are prone to high moisture of the soil, or which areas are let's say peatlands, and which areas are having a better ground soil type. So we are adding to this the weather information. So how does that kind of effect that comes from temperature being cold, and we get frozen soil, or we get snow, and then on the other hand, the precipitation, how it stays in the ground. And yeah, this is a service where the Finnish Met Institute mainly is the actor, but the University of Helsinki is also adding a carbon emissions impacts part that's not yet in the service, but will come during this project, because eShape has been now around for almost 2 years, but it's not finished. It will go 2 more years. So let's go to the service, harvester season. So we have been online since May 2020. And the kind of real idea here is that we use seasonal forecasts, which means 6 or almost 7 months ahead, the kind of probabilities in weather that really say, and we calculate it into having a good conditions for doing forestry, or having a bad condition, and then we leave some area in between that is uncertain, because the forecasting is not that kind of like, how do you say, it's not like that good, but I would say that it's not yet that reliable that we could say in all conditions far ahead in the future how it goes. But we really a lot rely here on the Copernicus Climate Change Service, because that's where the seasonal forecasts come from. And really the main idea here is that 51 kind of weather forecasts far in the future, we then group them together. If 90% of them are saying good, or 90% are saying bad, these are the sure conditions which we highlight. And then the uncertain leaves the static map, which you can see here in the picture, that you always on this web page really drill into a site where you can see on a 16-meter pixel, let's say, accuracy, different static conditions, and our forecast then changes them to good or to bad, kind of depending on which either winter or summer conditions are good. And as these seasonal forecasts are quite coarsely run in principle, it is really important that we have also bias adjusted them. So we have been using the 2000-2019 climate, in particular the ERA 5 reanalysis information for land. This is on a 9-kilometer scale, and that's how we have downscaled, so we get more precise information per location to these seasonal forecasts. Yeah, and in essence, this kind of means that we have a timeline 6-7 months ahead for this point where you have been clicking, which then predicts to you at what time in this period do you have a good condition and when do you have a bad condition, so that they could plan much more ahead when currently they usually plan a week ahead or something. Can they go and do a forestry action or not? And this gives them much more longer planning kind of horizon. And we also, of course, include here, for example, the Finnish maps for all the areas are pretty detailed, and that helps for doing this kind of, for example, here could be a parcel that if you go to this parcel, you have some swamp here, you have some ditches in here, where is the closest dirt road, or where is the kind of more real road, and where is the highway, for example. These kind of details the forestry operators are interested in. So we have tried to combine them in this app, but to not kind of like hide from them the pretty kind of problematic big data behind it. We have been also showing them then, when in this case we use soil wetness, soil temperature, and snow height, that those are the main, let's say, factors that give us something. We are actually showing them all the 51 different graphs into the future for these, because that kind of like that they are not illusioned into what do they get. And we are also showing here that on a monthly basis, we have this bias adjustment. So we have not been smoothing it nicely, but we are showing it per month. So it is kind of more clear to a user, where does this logic come from? Is it from the climate side, or is it from the seasonal forecast side? But in that sense, it really is a service that we have co-designed with some forestry operators in Finland. We have actually quite a really good survey that people understand the service, are happy with it, and new companies have actually been very interested to use it more broadly and much more. We actually have, since the launch, already been able to expand and improve many things of it. So the end users wanted to have forest fire warning information included on this site. So now you can also check out actually the EFIS forest fire information for the next 10 days in this service. You can know the area where we calculate this information for is now all of Europe. Of course, only this Finnish part has the very detailed trafficability maps, but we are looking into how to expand that more. We have improved our bias correction part. We have improved, for example, the snow depth information, because this was a nice example that when the January forecast in Finland started from very little snow amounts, but we actually all over the country got very quickly 50 centimeters of snow or more, then of course the forecast looked pretty unrealistic into the near future when this was not taken into account. So we now have fixed from observations the starting point, so that we are giving a much more kind of logical kind of transition from the current to the forecast. And actually the tree cover density layer that Bojan already mentioned, which is a 10 meter resolution nowadays for 2018, this can be also checked on this on our service. So yeah, that's it, and thank you for your attention. And that's one of those big machines, just to get the feel about them. Thank you very much.